Hey everybody, Ron here with Solo Operative Games. Today I am in Tabletopia, and that might seem a little bit unusual since you used me in TTS, but it's required to play a game that I am looking at today called Inventions. This is the latest Vital Lacerda game. It is available on Kickstarter, but only for one more day. So if you're seeing this after I launch it, you might have already missed the opportunity to back it, but you can buy it at retail or look for a secondhand copy. Maybe they'll have late pledges available. I'm not sure. I'm not incentivized by Eagle-Gryphon or Lacerda in any way to make this video. I'm making it out of love. I backed this game. I only own one other Vital Lacerda game that's on Mars, but I've played all of them and love them. And so when this one came out, I actually was in the Discord and got into a test group, and so I was able to do some testing, and my name's actually in the rule book. Isn't that cool? As a tester. But anyway, I wanted to show you because maybe you're thinking about backing it as a solo game and on the fence. And if you're on the Kickstarter, you saw that they have a link to play it on Tabletopia. So that's where I am. I'm going to do a full solo playthrough, but that will be another video. What I want to cover right now is just a kind of an overview and how to set it up within the Tabletopia mod so that you can play it, because there are a few things that might be questionable in the rules on setup. It is a draft copy of the rules, and I think maybe some of these will be updated before they publish. We'll see. So here we go. Let's talk about it. So Inventions is a game all about combos, chaining. Even your tokens are called chain tokens. There are only 14 actions in the game, maybe even less, 13. And so if you're not chaining into multiple actions every turn, you're not going to do well in this game. And if you know me, chain games are my favorite. I love them. I love when I can do one action, it lets me do another, lets me score, then do another, all that kind of stuff, right? Finding the best action economy for each of your actions. So we're looking at the board. We've got a few things here. On the left is the technologies. The far left is common tech. That's what everybody in the world knows. It's just assumed everybody has these technologies, all the civilizations. And then on the right side is a private technology that at the start only your civilization knows. So me as the blue player, I know cotton. I just know all about cotton. And there's two AI players in the solo game. The orange player in this is going to be Kronos. He's the god of time. Now, he's a very easy to manage AI, where he's just going to move and do one thing, really simple. No scoring, no tokens, no anything. He just keeps the game moving along. He's got a time. He's going to progress, right? The second AI is the yellow player in this game is Hephaestus. He's the god of crafting and blacksmithing, and he's actually going to simulate another player for you. And so he's going to have much more like the whole different decision-making trees, right, of what he's going to do, and cards that he's going to draw that are going to tell him what to do and how to do it and stuff. So you've got two AIs to manage. Orange one's super easy. Yellow one, you're probably going to have to have the rule book up for the first couple of plays. Then in the middle, you've got the actions. Now, each row is known as a forum, and it's your action selection. Now, one thing interesting about this game is to select an action, you use these pillars. You've got two small pillars, which are seasons, and one big pillar, which is your epoch. And when you put that down, you do the action, but then it blocks that forum for all your other actions until the next era. So by doing this action here, I cannot do either this one or this one for this era. And so I'd have to maybe go up here. Well, now I'm blocked on these two and these two. And so I do this action. And the last thing you do in an era is take your big one and move it. But you really have four options. Even those 10 actions in the game, the only options you have for your epoch are the two rows that you have not selected. So one of these four actions. And then the end of era, you recall the little ones, but the big guy stays, and he blocks this row for the next era until you have to move him again. So that is the main part of this game, as far as action selection, is not blocking yourself from the action you really want to do. Or because of the chaining, you can say, well, I really want to invent, but I'm blocked. So is there a way I can do another action that will let me chain into inventing so that I can do it even though I'm blocked? So it forces you to do these chains, which is really cool because you're rewarded for doing them. and the game wants you. It manipulates you into forcing you to do it, right? So that's the actions, and we'll learn about all 10 actions when we actually play the game. I'm not here to like teach it right now, just kind of give an overview. Then over here we got the world map. There's 7 regions in the world, and they're kind of numbered based on how humanity spread, right? So we started off in Africa, went to the Middle East. Apparently we went down to Australia next. I'm not certain my ancient history here. Up into East Asia, over into Europe, then into the Americas, and then that's all connected. So you can see there's connected lines here. You can travel around the world. And there's a little bit of an area control, or just a majority game here, where you're going to put out your little meeples specialists out into the world. And when you have a majority in an area, you can then spread your influence into that area. So if I had a majority in Australia, I can put influence tokens out on the board to score points. The other things you're going to do is in these regions, they're all connected to one of these little or little areas on the map here that are going to track your inventions. Inventions start out as an idea that we just presented. So at the beginning of the game, this wheel was just an idea in somebody's head in South America. They thought about the wheel, right? But then somebody could, and that's the first action here is presenting an idea. So there's some initial seeded ideas out on the board, right? But then the next thing that needs to do is invent that. So to actually take an idea and become a concrete invention, somebody has to take the invent action, and that will flip it over. And now it's an invention that South America knows about. They have invented the wheel. They're starting to build wheels and stuff, apparently. And then there's an optional third thing that can happen, which is innovate. And that's so you can say, hey, you thought about the wheel, but did you think about making it in a hexagon? No, I have no idea. So it's like you innovate on the idea. You don't have to think about these storylines, but I'll talk about the theme in a minute. But yeah, so you can innovate on the idea. And then the fourth action is to share it with the world. So right now only South America knows about it. We have to go share it with the world. And that's going to give you these the wealth tiles. The wealth tiles are one of the main ways to get points in the game. Didn't mean to draw that in my hand. So yeah, and the cool thing about it is I might think of the idea and present it, but somebody else might invent it, and somebody else might innovate on it, and then any of us could share it. So you could just do the whole game and never invent anything. You just share ideas with the world. That's your thing. Or you could just invent things and never present them. I don't know. You're going to have to learn strategy over time because there is a lot to think about and plan it. But I really like that aspect as well of this whole story that these ideas go through on who presents them, who invents them, and who shares them. So that's how the world thing works out here. The last part of this is a little mini game here in your player board where you've got first the easier one is to manage your population. Right now I've got a trader that's economy focused. I've got an artisan that's culture focused, and a tech dude, I forget what their name is. We'll call them, I don't know, that's technology focused. And then you've got 2 scholars that are just wild. And you're going to be putting these out on the board, recalling them, growing your population and stuff. And so there's kind of a little bit of a mini game of making sure you always have people and of the right specialization to go out and venture stuff. Running out of people is really bad. You never want to have that happen because then you're forced to take these kind of weak actions to just recall them. Yeah, so that's the thing. And then you've got this larger mini game here where you're going to be acquiring hex tiles of the various colors as well as these wealth tiles, which are kind of like the brown one, or light brown, tan, I guess, and putting them out on the board. And based on how you place them determines how much they cost in these workers. Also, you can get some benefits for placing tiles over certain things. And so the way you place these out here are going to affect special abilities and endgame scoring. So you really got to focus on how you lay them out and how you collect them. You really, to score well, need to almost fill the board with stuff, which in the very beginning or when you first play, you're like, there's no way I can get this many tiles. I only have 14 turns or 13 turns, whatever it is. there's more than that here. Like, how are we gonna ever do that? So yeah, that's the crux of the trick of the chain actions to be able to maximize your profits. So let's talk about the AI. The AI, so Kronos and Hephaestus are going to start with their own private technologies, and that's going to influence their initial invention. But notice that this is agriculture for Kronos, and so he would get irrigation because it matches agriculture. It's given Hephaestus mining, but that should go with this one, the Proto-City. And then it's given me cotton, which should go with silk. So it does randomize these these 4 cards for you, but it doesn't align these correctly. So just be aware of that when starting, that you need to find the matching one, not necessarily the one that's next to it when giving them out. And so Kronos just basically takes this one, the one that matches what he has, and then he goes out and he looks for a matching color. And so in this case, only the wheel is matching. They're both brown. And he actually says, nope, we're never going to invent the wheel. Never, ever in the history of the world is the wheel going to be invented, because I want to invent irrigation. And so he puts some stuff out and puts this little token. And we'll see this when we do our playthrough, but he does that. Then we do an initial setup. So we've been given silk, and I can go out and present one of these ideas. Now, another thing you need to know when you're setting up the game is it will randomly put these tokens out for you. But wherever the present token and the share token end up, they should not have cards. Those need to go in some other spot. So just randomly move them to another spot, such that this area and one with this. And this could be random. It might be Europe and North America in one game, but wherever these 2 tokens are, they should be empty. So yeah, so then we would present something. So we'll do here, whatever. And then Hephaestus would go third, and I think he goes wherever. I think he would go here. I don't know. Just so that's the setup. They get initial invention, and he'd put this out. I think he would go here. I don't know. Anyway, so they set up, and we'll see that when we look at the rules in the playthrough. And then the game starts, right? So that's kind of our initial seeding the board, and the game starts. And your first action up here is to just place your big epoch pillar. After that, we're going to change eras. So the first era is actually a very short one. And then we'll go into the main game where you put your 2 season pillars and then move your epoch. So that's pretty much an overview and how to set up the game. So if we want to look clearer just on Hephaestus really quick. So he's going to take the starting idea matching his color. So mining was this one, the Proto-City. And place idea in the next available region after Kronos. So he's going to go, well, Kronos was in 7. So he's going to go to look at 1, but I'm already there, so he's not going to go there. And so these 2 are empty, so he's actually going to go up this one and replace the horse with the Proto-City. All right, and then he starts there and puts out a few things. Oh, he's going to put 2. Cool. So yeah, so that sets up the board. Now you're ready to play, and should cover any of the beginning kind of questions about how to set it up. There is this is whenever the rulebook says the non-player, it just means this card. There are a few times where it says the non-player, and I'm like, what's the non-player? And it means, well, we've got 3 players, so there's a 4th player, which is a non-player. That was one of the confusing things when I just read the rules. But I think as long as you match the tiles and move these initial ones, I think wherever nothing was invented or presented, I guess, these go away. So there should only be 3 starting inventions. If you leave these on here, that will kind of break the economy of the game, having too many things presented, and you'll never be able to present, because as soon as the spot opens up, Kronos will present an idea, and it gets really frustrating. So make sure there's only 3 starting inventions out on the board at the beginning. Yeah, then these are all set up to go. The Eureka board is this one, so you can go learn new technologies throughout the game. And let's talk about theme, because normally in a Euro, like it's just about worker placement, get some tokens, spend tokens, get points, right? In a lot of Vital Lacerda games, there's this very intricate theme woven in, like on Mars, where you're developing and terraforming Mars and moving back between Mars and the LSS, and as you get Mars more developed, the LSS, or the rocket ship doesn't fly back as much. Things that are like mechanics of the game, but like work with the story. With Kanban, you've got the different cars moving around and developing parts, and so there's like a very good theme. And this one's no different. I really like the stories that come out of the things where it's like, oh, I have this idea for mining, right? Or something. I don't know what's something. Let's get an actual example. I have an idea of glass. I'm just thinking about clear stuff. I don't really know. I just have an idea. I'm going to tell people about it in Europe. I'm just got guys, clear stuff. And I'm just telling them glass is cool. It's going to be all the rage. And then somebody comes along and is like, I agree with you. Glass is amazing. Let's work on it. Let's invent it. And now glass is invented. And Europe is like, man, we have windows, right? And we have all this, and we can drink out of glass. It's great. No more pottery that we have to drink out of. And but then like the rest of the world's like, hey, we want to know about glass. Come on, teach us about glass. And so then somebody goes and shares the idea, and they get all the glory and the rewards for sharing the idea, even though they might have not thought about it or invented it. They're just like, guys, Europe's got this really cool stuff. you should know about it. And everybody's like, yeah, you're awesome. And the guy that invented glass is like, hey, what about me? And all he gets is a little worker in Europe. But anyway, so the theme of the cycle that the cards go through is really cool. And then all the actions are very thematic as well. So we can send out diplomats to learn about other cultures' technologies. Like, hey, that agriculture stuff's really cool. I wish I knew about it so I can invent a tractor. And so we send a diplomat out there to learn about agriculture. And we get rewarded for sending that out. But then we have the option to then bring him back. And when he comes back, he might have gone out as a technology guy, but when he comes back as the wild one. Oh my gosh, you know me, guys. The terms never sit well there. A scholar, I think, is the wild one. So like he gains knowledge while he was out learning, and so now he's a better worker and stuff like that. And then you've got the Eureka action, which is like when you take the Eureka action, you must go Eureka. Right? You have to or you don't get to do it unless you say that. No, it's not in the rules, but I think that's a house rule. You have to exclaim Eureka. And that's like inventing new technology. You're just like, hey, I came up with smelting or sailing or iron or math, whatever. So these are not necessarily inventions, but they're more theories or knowledge or some kind of technology, right? So you have this Eureka moment that moves you and progresses your civilization in the eras, enabling you to then invent higher tier items. So that's pretty cool. I really like that. And it does generate a few scenarios where someone that doesn't even know about the wheel is inventing rocket ships. That always exists in Civ games, where it's like the timeline doesn't always work, or the knowledge jumps and leaps and stuff don't always work, but it is still pretty cool going out and learning new things. And some of the promo cards are really fun. I'll leave you those to discover, but they make the game pretty cool. And I think that's about it. I really like the chain concept. You start out with only one chain token, and so you can do basically one action or chain into a second. And you really better chain into a second if you want to score high. But then as you gain influence, you can then earn a second and even a third chain token. So you might be doing 4 actions in your turn. And so it does suffer a lot of bit, if you have people with AP, because they're going to try and maximize all 4 of those actions and be like, okay, I can do this. Well, let me chain into this. Well, let me chain into this. And then, I can't do that 4th thing. So never mind, I'll go back. Okay, I'll do this. and they'll just keep going until they, it's just like, okay, just pick an action and do it, right? So AP in most Vital Lacerda games is prevalent. In this game, especially so, as you try to maximize all of your actions every time, because they are so limited in the number of things you can do. As far as points in my learning game, I think we were all in like the high 90s. I think I got like a 105 or something. That was a decent score. It wasn't, I've seen playthroughs on YouTube where people are scoring in the 130s or higher. To get there, you really need to chain a lot, and you need to maximize these wealth tiles. They're the key to getting a lot of points. There are private goal cards, but I have not seen a lot of people on YouTube playthroughs and in other playthroughs I've seen that really maximize these at all. It's just kind of like, oh, I managed to achieve half of this, so I get 3 points. It's not like people are like really trying to get the 10 points on this card, or maybe they forget. I don't know. But these are available to kind of guide you. You're like, where do I want to go? Well, look, this has a 3 and that has a 3, so maybe I'll start in region 3. That's kind of a lot of what I've seen, is just to help initial decision making at the beginning of the game when it's more up in the air of what your best action is. So yeah, I'm going to end it there. We're going to make a second video that's going to cover how to play the solo game, and we'll play through a full playthrough and try and beat Kronos and Hephaestus against the great Ron, the civilization of Ron. I don't know what I'm the god of. I'm not the god of anything. I'm just the board game player that's going to try and advance a civilization through inventing stuff. Guys, if you liked this video, make sure you like it, subscribe to my channel for more, and go check out the Kickstarter for this game if it hasn't ended already. And I'll see you in the next video. Catch you later. Bye.